Hey guys, this is Sari Torres from the Pixel Slayers. Now we've covered the Brawler and the SuperPad 64 controllers for the N64, which were both unusual, but they were still pretty much a controller type controller, like your standard controller. Now what if you wanted a completely different controller experience, something more like the arcade experience for your N64? Well, we have the ArcadeShark, and this bad boy will let you play games on your N64 akin to the arcade style. But is this any good? Well, stay tuned and see in our review of the ArcadeShark for the N64. First impressions? This thing is a beast. At roughly 12 inches by 9 inches, you're going to want something like a table to set this on. The joystick is wobbly. I don't know if that's just ours or if each one is like that. I obviously got this used. The buttons are placed so they are all reachable, but it's going to take a bit getting used to having Z and L and R over here, but I don't really know how else they could have arranged these. We had a lot of buttons they had to cram on here. Now let's try it out with some games. Ever think Smash Arcade would be a cool idea? Well, you can get a bit of that feeling here. It took me a couple rounds to get used to the control placement, which is true for most of these games, let's be honest. It controls fine, the joystick is responsive. However, the down-up A or B combos are harder to execute than I'd like, and Z is harder to reach for quick guard reactions. It's a fun way to play the game, but you won't be winning any Smash 64 tournaments with this thing. Oh darn, this fighting game uses the D-pad, not the joystick. Not to worry. There. Now, of course, the D-pad isn't going to have all the directions as a joystick still, but this'll work. Now, this is a fun way to play fighting games on the 64. It's got pretty good response time, highly tappable buttons. This is a nice second place to the arcade cabinet experience, especially since this game never came out in arcade. A and B are well reachable. This isn't bad. I had a lot of fun with Star Fox using this ArcadeShark. I do have some complaints about the L and R button placement with this one, and the U-turns really take a bit getting used to. But the general flying and gunning of the game is a really fun experience with this controller, if you can get used to it. Of course, puzzle games like Tetris just feel natural with the arcade joystick. This is the best way to play Tetris on the 64. Of course, if you have a classic arcade collection such as Namco Museum, I'm sure that would go great with this controller as well. So in the end, the ArcadeShark is a pretty cool peripheral for your N64. Is it going to give you a more accurate gaming experience? Probably not. If you want to be doing the best you can at the games that you enjoy, you're probably better off with a Brawler or a standard 64 controller. But if you want that feeling, that arcade feeling that you can't get anywhere else on your N64 games, this isn't a bad choice. So yeah, that was our review for the ArcadeShark for the Nintendo 64. I'm Sari Torres from the Pixel Slayers, and I hope you enjoyed our video. See you around again soon. Bye!